What's up guys, welcome back to Broadway Pro Scooters. I'm John once again, and today we're going to talk about cutting bars. A lot of people order bars and want them sized depending on how you ride and what dimensions you ride in. So I'm going to go through on what you should look for if you are going to be ordering bars and wanting your bars cut, or just coming to the shop and you want your bars sized to your preference. So a lot comes to mind: the width, height, and of course whether you need a slit or not. So depending on what compression you're using, depending on what system you have on your front end, is going to decide whether you have a slit in your handlebar or not. The slit is going to be at the bottom of the handlebar, and depending on how big your clamp is, that's how big the slit is going to be. You don't want your slit exceeding the clamp too much, because that's going to weaken the handlebars and cause them to have a lot of play and eventually crack and break. The best option is to ride SCS, which means you don't have to use a slit, you don't have to put anything in your bars. You cut the height, cut the width, and then you're ready to go. I actually have a pair of T-bars here that I'm going to actually cut the height on, not the width. The width is pretty narrow already. I'm going to cut the height slightly and put a slit in the handlebar to show you guys what you need to do in order to have your bars fit properly depending on what system you're using. The bars that I have in front of me are going to be oversized, and I'm going to put a slit, which means we're going to have to be using HIC. If you want to use these bars for any other system, you can use them for SCS and not put a slit, and you can use them for IHC but have the conversion kit where you're going to have the spacer that goes over the fork to make the fork bigger and make these work, because these are oversized. This is something that we do in the shop that requires a lot of machining and power tools to do so. So please don't do this at home. If you are going to do bars at home, I recommend using either a hacksaw or something like that. Just make sure you have a vise and someone is overlooking you. You don't want to cut yourself and hurt yourself. The whole point of this is when you order bars from us, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to size your bars. Just keep in mind of what you're doing and what you're requesting for your handlebar, depending on what parts you have and what system you're using for compression. Alright, now that we cut the handlebar, I'm going to actually file it down because of some sharp edges. Depending on what system you're using, you want to make sure the edges are filed down either way. When you have sharp edges on the inside, you won't be able to fit your shim and your fork inside. Or if you have sharp edges on the outside, if you do use SCS and you're not putting a slit in this, you don't want to damage your SCS. Make sure that all the edges are filed off completely. I have a machine right here. You can also use a hand file. That's going to help a lot. If anything, the hand file might be a little better because you're going to take it nice and easy, nice and slow, where you can't really mess up, you can't really make a mistake because you're doing it by hand. Alright, so I have my bars ready. All the edges are filed down. I have my slit already made. Knowing that my clamp is not going to exceed past the slit, being too far above the top of the clamp, because that causes a weak spot and you don't want your bars to break too fast. If you want your bars to last a long time, please ride SCS. There's no slit in your bars. It's going to make things a lot stronger, a lot easier, and just a lot safer. Of course, IHC and HIC are a lot lighter because you don't have a bigger clamp. But remember, when you go lighter, you take away some strength. When you guys order bars from us, just keep in mind of what system you're using or what systems you want to use in the future. Once you cut the bars, you can't go back. So just remember that every single time you order bars from us or come into the shop. And there's that option on the side of the screen where you can put down your dimensions and what system you're using. And remember, when you order bars from us, you can call us at the shop. If you have any questions or need any advice, we're here to help. So just be careful when you cut your bars yourself if you do so, but we're definitely here to help if you want your bars size when you order them from our website. Thanks again, I'm John, and I'll see you guys in the next video.